Well, hello, how are y'all? I hope you're getting ready for bed and you're all in your cozy PJs or your slippers. I'm going to read a bedtime story. It's really a fairy tale. And I want you to come join me. Come get on the couch with me. Okay? Are you ready? This is what we're going to read. It's called The Ugly Duckling. Ready? It was summertime in the countryside and life was blooming everywhere. In this beautiful setting, a duck was sitting on her nest to hatch her ducklings. She had been sitting and sitting for a long time. At last, one egg after another began to crack, and several little ducklings squeaked, peep, peep. One by one, the ducklings hatched and began to look all about. How big the world is, said all the fuzzy yellow ducklings. Then Mother Duck noticed that one egg hadn't hatched. The biggest egg is still there, she thought tiredly. So she settled down on the last egg until at last it broke. Peep, peep, said the youngest as he rolled out of the shell. He was very big and ugly, and his feathers were gray. Mother Duck looked at him and said, "You are a terribly big duckling. None of the others look like you, but you are who you are." The next day was beautiful, and Mother Duck went to the lake with her ducklings. Splash! Into the water she jumped. Quack, quack, she called, and in the ducklings jumped, one after another. Soon they were all in the water, even the ugly gray youngster. Look how well he uses his legs and how he carries himself, thought Mother Duck. He's not so ugly when you look at him properly. Come along with me and I will take you out into the world, called Mother Duck as she waded out of the water. Soon they all came into the duck yard. All the other ducks looked at them and said, "Humph! Look at that ugly duckling. He doesn't belong here." Right then a duck flew at the ugly duckling and bit him in the neck. "Leave him alone," said Mother Duck. "He won't hurt anybody." Now, isn't that mean? Just because he looks different from the other ducks, he has to be treated differently? We don't do that, I hope. I hope you don't do that. "He's too big and so different from the others," said the duck who had been who had bitten the duckling. All of your children are pretty except that one," said another duck. "He's not pretty, but he's good-natured," said Mother Duck, "and he swims beautifully." With that she stroked the duckling's downy coat with her beak. As the family left the duckyard, though, the poor duckling, who looked so ugly, was bitten, pushed, and jeered. In this way the first day passed, but things only became worse. The poor duckling was chased by the other ducks. Even his own brothers and sisters treated him badly and were always saying, "If only the cat would catch you, you ugly fright." Finally, the ugly duckling became so sad that he ran away from home. He swam away when no one was looking and spent the night in a quiet marsh. The next morning, two wild ducks flew up to him. "Who are you?" they asked. The duckling turned around and bowed to both of them. "You are terribly ugly," said the wild ducks. Just then a pop, pop was heard, and the two wild ducks fell down dead right next to the ugly duckling. A group of hunters had arrived. The frightened duckling put his head under his wing. Suddenly, a terribly large dog bounded toward him. The dog stood in front of him and snarled, showing his large, sharp teeth. After a moment, though, he bounded off. "Thank heavens," thought the duckling. "I am so ugly that even the dog doesn't want to touch me." The duckling lay still until the marsh was again quiet. The little duckling spent a miserable winter in the marsh, hiding from everyone. He knew no one would like him because he was so ugly. Eventually, spring came again. The sun set forth its warm rays, and all of nature seemed happy and full of life. Except the ugly duckling. Deciding he would sneak out and get something to eat one morning, he flapped his wings. He noticed that they beat the air more strongly than before and carried him away rapidly, and before he knew it, he found himself in a large garden. Suddenly, out of the thicket came three beautiful white swans floating gracefully by. The duckling was seized with sadness. I will fly over to these beautiful birds, and they will kill me because I, who am so ugly, dare to approach them. But I don't care. It's better than to suffer the insults of all. He jumped into the water and swam toward the graceful swans. He said, "Kill me," said the poor duckling as he bent down, his head against the water, waiting for death. But what did he see in the water? He saw his own image. He was no longer a clumsy gray bird, ugly to behold. He was a swan. His heart filled with joy after all of the suffering he endured. He realized his good fortune, and now he could see all the loveliness in the world around him. Some children came into the yard just then and threw bread out to the swans. The children noticed him and said, "The new one is the prettiest." He felt quite bashful and hid his head under his wing. He was extremely happy, but not proud, for a good heart is never proud. He thought about how he had been persecuted and despised, but was now being called the most beautiful of beautiful birds. He rustled his feathers, curved his graceful neck, and joyfully thought, "I never dreamed I could be so happy when I was an ugly duckling." How did you like this story? Wasn't it awesome? I just enjoyed it so much. I hope you were kind to people who don't look just like you. I love you. Good night. Sleep tight. Good night. Bye.